All right. Then
Wow.
go ahead.
I can start now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, it's indeed a pleasure, a blessing to be here today. You know, time is so short, and I'm just thankful that we are able to come together, even if it's not in person, by screen. Anyway, just doing a quick commercial. This is a book the Lord allowed me to read. I mean, to make or write. Just a little commercial. But you know, we stopped off last week. We talked about the waste. You know, there's a lot of people talking about climate change, so forth and so on, but they never talk about the waste that's involved with drinking milk and with eating animal products. So we went over that last week. Really don't want to go over that today. I want, because we're supposed to be talking about the brain. So I'm going to get into that. And before I do that, there's one thing that really bugs me that I want to talk very briefly about. When you see this photograph and you see this photograph and you see this photograph, oh, not that one. What comes to your mind, you know, this, with respect to the church, for instance?
Wow. Wow. Regarding, in response to the church?
Well, I mean, you know, just, well, I don't want to make it too deep, but one of the problems we have in the church is that we come into the message and we start growing and then we stop.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what these two photographs are depicting. You know, we come up and we stop. We stop growing. And so, we'll give up the pork, you know, maybe we'll give up the Burger King, but we'll stick with the chicken. We'll stick with the turkey. we'll stick with the egg, but we won't go any further. We'll stop right there. And so this is what we look like spiritually, because we have allowed ourselves to stop growing. Amen, somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is what's happening. And so, like, you know, when you hear these lectures, you know, hopefully, Lord willing, doesn't go in one ear and out the other, and your growth continues to remain stunted. You know, this information is for you to grow, to get out of the diapers, to stop sucking your thumb or pacifiers, stop playing with teddy bears and take that thing off your hat. It's time to grow up. Okay? So that's my whole thing with these lectures, is I want you to grow. I don't want to retard your growth. I want you to grow. I want you to have that information to reach out, to grow, to grab on the God and say, help me make these changes, please. All right, so we're going to talk about the brain. Now, if you are going to get into warfare, this spiritual warfare, and this is the thing that you must attack, what is it that you would do? What are some of the things that you would do to make it so that people are, let's say, handicapped spiritually because their brain isn't working properly?
Feed them milk.
All right. Yeah, you would do that. The goal is to compromise the brain any way you can. So there are people who are heavily into the health message, but they will go and read material or watch movies they have no business watching. And so on the one hand, your brain is healthy, but on the other hand, it's unhealthy because you're watching all this stuff. So you're retarding your growth by what you are beholding. By beholding, we become changed. So that's one way to do it. And drinking milk is another way. And why would drinking milk, of all things, why would drinking milk have an impact on the brain? It's not a trick question. I mean, you can feel free to blurt out something. I'm not one of those, handing out gotcha questions. We're here to have a conversation. So it's difficult when I'm the only one talking.
So you want to get us talking.
I want you to get involved.
Of course. Oh yeah, definitely. The reason I stopped drinking it was because of, well, all along as a young child and as a young adult growing up, I went from, I guess at some point I drank whole milk. I don't remember, but I started moving towards the fat and all because I felt that I had allergies to it. It would cause me to blow up and this kind of thing. Now that was my initial change.
Okay.
And as I became more, well, when I came here to Portland and met Derek and Tom, I became more involved in the health care in terms of taking care of myself.
Okay.
And then I saw that one movie that I guess Derek and Tom showed. Remember that one about the dairy, Derek?
Oh, yeah.
Once I saw that, I couldn't drink anymore. And then they came out with the other milks, the oat milk, the almond. You have choices now. So that, and even drinking the one with the lactate, I think I went through periods of that, but you're still drinking milk. So for me, that was sort of how my journey started and where I am now.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
and what are the reasons why people drink milk in the first place? What are they told?
It does the body good.
Yes, it does. It does. That's what they say. That's what they say.
That's good for you. Yeah.
But just because they say it doesn't mean it's correct. That's the problem. So strong bones, big bones, strong bones, right? That's what we're told. This is the brain of a cow.
Ew.
You see how small that thing is within the guy's hands. So when you're drinking milk, you are drinking a substance that's designed to make a baby calf go to basically a full-blown adult within 1 year.
Right.
So this is that cow's brain, a cow that weighs about anywhere between 1,500 and 2,000 pounds. This is the size of their brain. Their brain weighs 1 pound. 1 pound. The human brain weighs 3 pounds. So you have a third of the brain in a cow compared to a human.
Right.
So that's one area of attack. Now, of course, nobody studies this because there's no money in it and there's money to be lost.
That's right.
But I dare say that if they took the studies or made the studies, they would show that the substances in milk are designed to grow a small brain, not a big brain. Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes
This
sense.
is too exciting for me, and you guys are quiet. I'm jumping up.
No,
This is huge. This is huge.
it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yes. This is incredible stuff. Big bones, strong bones, but a weak little brain. That's what that's what they don't tell you. Yeah, you can have strong bones, but you got a weak little brain. Okay.
That's
So,
right.
so this is how the attack begins. I'll tell them that this substance that's designed to grow a 70 to 90 pound calf to 1,500 to 2,000 pounds within a year is good for you. It's going to make you big and strong, but it'll also make you a dummy. And I say that sincerely because they have done studies that show that children who are breastfed versus children who are given,
Right.
milk.
Mhm.
Those who are breastfed have a higher IQ, which is, I mean,
Right.
come
Mhm.
on, we are not cows, for heaven's sake.
Mm.
So again, this is the attack on the brain. The devil has come in, and he's, God has given us water. He's given us the juices from the grapes and whatever, the vegetables. And here we are, the devil has coaxed us to drink from the teats of a,
What,
I mean,
Mm.
that is low. I mean, he throws up in God's face. You gave your children this, that, and the other. I'm gonna make them drink this mess. Okay.
Mhm.
So we have the cow brain, and you can see it on the lateral side, how small it is. A 2,000-pound cow being controlled by something this small.
Mm.
Now, you don't see cows out in the field doing calculus, designing buildings, engineering, none of that stuff. You just see them eating grass. But yet and still, we want to take the substance that builds these mammoth animals and have a small brain.
Mm.
The devil's on the attack, okay? So now the other attack is, so the milk the chemicals in milk are designed for you to have a small brain. So that's one attack. The second attack is, let's destroy the brain. So we have a small brain, or we don't allow the brain to grow as large as it should, or as specialized as it should. So the second prong of attack is, let's destroy the brain, period. So now we have what's called neurocystic cirrhosis. Fascinating stuff. This is the result. This is a brain. If I were to turn my head this way and slice, that's what you would get. And so this is a brain that's filled with neurocystic cirrhosis, cirrhosis. So anyway, these little holes, these are cysts that are in the brain and work to destroy the brain. So this is the result of the pork tapeworm, Teniasolium. So it goes throughout, you can take a piece of pork, eat it, goes into your stomach. The capsule, they're encapsulated. The digestive juices dissolve that capsule, and then that thing is free to go throughout the system. And one of the places that it goes is the brain. Now, what's really fascinating is that this is now coming to the surface. There are other worms as well too, but this is coming to the surface. One year there were 120 cases in LA alone. They found neurocystic cirrhosis. Fascinating. So you destroy it from the tapeworm. Okay. Now, when you look at this brain, does it appear as though it would function fully?
no,
No, it doesn't.
No.
I mean, it's not a trick question. I'm serious. I mean, this is not a trick question. Look at that thing, it's messed up. And so you think that you can pray? Do you think that you can resist sin? Do you think you can discern sin? Do you think you can memorize Bible text when your brain is like this? Do you think you could even pray to God with your brain messed up like this? No, you can't. And you won't. So now, Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, there was
Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease.
This is mad cow disease. I don't know if you remember Oprah when she had, I forgot his name, the mad cowboy on talking about mad cow disease, and she got sued and for saying what she said. She said, "I never eat another burger." And that statement cost her millions of dollars because she had to fight. It was a food disparagement law that she violated. And the Texas Cowboys, with all their, beef, were mad because they were worried about losing money, because you know how influential Oprah was at that time.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. So she went to court. She won, but she had to pay millions of dollars to win. But anyway, so what the point is, with the bovine spongiform encephalopathy, that's responsible for the Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. There's several versions of the Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. There's a variant, there's a spontaneous, and there's what they think is genetic, but I disagree with them, but that's a whole nother story. But let's see, I'm looking at it. So on my right hand, you can see the affected side, and on the other side, you can see the normal side. The affected side looks like a waffle. And so what happens now is that they don't even know the mechanism. They think they know the mechanism, and they call it a prion or prion, whatever you want to call it, that goes in and starts to destroy the brain. And this thing basically cannot be destroyed. It takes extreme things to kill this thing. And even then, they're not certain that it's dead. They've done studies that show that if it's buried in the ground, it can come back 5 years later, and this thing is still active. They, tried it to do it with heat. The thing was still active. When the mad cow disease first, broke open, and even to this very day, seldom do you see any doctors wanting to go in to do surgery or autopsies on these people. They get, you thought COVID was bad with people suiting up. When it comes to this stuff, they are super, super suited up to deal with it. So anyway, you can see the damage that's done here. And so again, can you pray? Can you think about God? Can you remember memory texts, so forth and so on? The answer is no. No, no, no. So the devil attacks the brain this way, through the food. The US, when they had this corny quarantine about the brain and spinal cord couldn't go into the food chain. Let me tell you something. The prions are throughout the body of a cow. So just doing the brain and the spinal cord is not nearly enough. And there's another one too, Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's. The difference between, well, shouldn't say the difference, but it's like, how do you get to Portland? You can come up the I-5, you can fly in, you can get a boat, whatever. There's several ways to get to Portland. And so it is with dementia. There are several ways to get to dementia. Alzheimer's is one of them. Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease is another. Cystic sarcosis is another one. So there are a multitude, but what's interesting is that you can have a combination of these things. You aren't limited. Just because you get Creutzfeldt-Jakob doesn't mean you're not going to get Alzheimer's. So it's this fascinating orchestra that's played in the brain with respect to taking on these organisms that cause the brain, number one, to shrink, and number two, to eat out the brain, and number three, to rearrange or disarrange the neural pathways of the brain. And so when you take in, when you're eating, flesh and you're drinking milk, you're getting these organisms. But again, no one's going to say anything because there's too much money to be lost. When you look at what is so disgusting to me is that when you look at any given disease that an animal has, I was doing some study, and there were like 67 major diseases that cows get. But they're not going to talk about those because, again, they don't want sales to decline.
Right.
And when you look at any one particular disease, the main thing they talk about, aside from the disease itself, is the money that would be lost. Nothing about human health, Nothing about a public health threat, but just the money that would be lost.
It'll be a lot there. And they're
So,
not gonna let that happen. Because
pardon?
I say it's not gonna, the people, corporate America or whoever, the farmers or they're not, and they're gonna fight it all the way is what I'm saying. They're not gonna let, because they don't want to lose the money. It doesn't matter
Right.
what, what we tell them about diseases or all that. They are out for, and I mean, it's like many other things. There's out of greed.
Yeah. And, let me go back to another, now that I think about it, another aspect of degeneration of the brain would be when you have inflammation of the brain.
Mhm.
Inflammation is due to, one of the ways you have inflammation is you have these foreign proteins attacking themselves. And like I talked about last week, sialic acid. So you have sialic acid throughout the body now because you have a different type of sialic acid throughout the body because you consumed animals. And like I said last week, humans have a distinct type of sialic acid that animals don't. And so when you eat animal products, you take in their sialic acid, it goes into your cells and then comes out onto the cell surface. And so now your cell surface is a hybrid of the human sialic acid and the animal sialic acid. So the body begins to start attacking itself. And so you have low-level inflammation. And also because of the diet, you have atherosclerosis, you have the building up within the walls of plaque. So you get a decreased blood flow. And again, that all can lead to Alzheimer's or some form of dementia. Actually, this is where I stopped last week. So, when you're pregnant, you give off all types of hormones and in varying concentrations as well. So the same is with a cow. And what I talked about last week, the difference is that when a cow is pregnant or gives birth, that calf is taken away right away. And so now the cow is traumatized. And with that trauma comes now a stressful level of hormones within the body. And so that those hormones go berserk and they get into the milk. And so now you're drinking the milk of a traumatized cow and not a regular cow. Not that regular cows are any better, but I'm just saying that the chemistry within the milk would be different. So, a woman's pregnant, 150 pounds, this thing is pregnant, 1,500 pounds. So you can see the difference there. And remember the small brain, big bones, small brain. So the hormones in milk, this is just the tip of the iceberg with respect to the different hormones. I mean, the chemistry within milk is it's mind blowing. And we don't know the half of it. We don't even know a quarter. We don't even know a fraction of it, quite honestly. And not only do we not know all of the chemicals within the substance, we don't know how they interact and how they react. So it's even more complex. So you just exponentially increase the number of chemical reactions in milk and within the body once you take it in. Is this natural?
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is natural. Praise the Lord, that it is natural. It's a beautiful thing. But, well, this is natural too. Not as beautiful, of course, but it's natural. I guess the calf thinks it's beautiful, but another story. But this.
Oh my goodness.
Is this natural?
No, that's not natural at all.
Not at all. Oh my goodness, it's repulsive.
It is. I mean, but the thing is,
Basically, that's what we're doing.
well, yeah, but to think that with the intellect that God has given us, that we can fall so low as to think this is good. And so again, the devil comes in and tells you, strong, this is good for you, blah, 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 blah. No. But there it is. It's a pure white substance. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's clean. How many of you think that milk is just clean because it's been pasteurized?
Pasteurized, homogenized.
No, it's not clean.
Definitely not.
I got a
Now
rebel
I
in the
definitely don't think it is.
I got another rebel in the house. Okay. No, it's anything but clean. I'll talk about that in a minute. But I'll talk about,
I
pardon?
have a comment.
Go ahead.
When you're showing all of the hormones that the cow, and I look at young ladies, young girls now that are developing in such enormous ways, much larger breasts of their whole body. It's just, it seems like it has taken off, because you think about, wait a minute, did these girls get breast implants? Did they get their bodies changed? I mean, it's so amazing. It's just, I mean, you just wonder what, and I tell my granddaughters the same thing, because in going back to meat, even the cow, eating the cow, I mean, the milk is showing you right there, all the testosterone, progesterone, prolactin, corticosteroids. These are, I mean, those are the things we sort of recognize, estradiol. And these are things that extra hormones that are coming in to their body, which is making them also grow, out of proportion to me.
Yeah.
To see 12 and 11, 12-year-old girls, how they have matured as such. It's just amazing. I just think about it. It goes back to that.
Yes.
The meat
Oh,
and the
yeah.
milk and all that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, is that we don't know a fraction of the chemical reactions that occur because of all of this. And I dare say that what you talked about, these young girls starting to develop at an early age would be part of it.
10, 11 years old.
Yeah. So the exploitation of the cows in, the early 1900s, not even 2 tons of milk a year
That was natural.
from a cow. But today, over 11 tons. 11 tons of milk. So you can see the manipulation of the body. And a lot of this would go back to, what is it? Bovine somatoform something. BST, I think it is. So they give these cows this hormone to make them to produce more milk. We talked about this last week. That's not that important. I want to get on. More stats for you. This is how much milk was produced in 2018. Number of cows on the farm is growing, and the number of farms is decreasing. So you have big ag coming in, taking up the small farms. Here, to your point about the estrogens, most sensitive section of human population, estrogens are children. So there you go.
They're fast, yeah.
That's since this is recorded, you can see the reference at the bottom and look at it at your leisure. And here's another one talking about the estrogens as well.
Dr. Cheadle.
Yes.
Now.
You want me to go back?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
I have a question.
All right.
Now, when do a person or a mother come to the point to make a decision without any education being presented to them and really what's happening to their bodies, to the children, and to be doing something that's really not normal? And so therefore, you see ladies or young girls are not educated on this,
Yeah.
or they don't have the time. They got to buy the milk from their point and give it to the baby because they don't have nothing to give them because the way they've been neglecting themselves. So they are dependent on milk and whatever else is out there. And it's really sad that we don't have much education, no matter what the dairy industry wants to say or do or how much money. No, it's about life, you see. And we just don't have enough for these young ladies in school, in high school. They're not learning this. They need to know these things because they're the one that's coming up next to have these babies. And it's better to breastfeed your baby, and it's better for you to leave meat and all them chemicals that come with it alone, that you may have a healthier baby and you yourself be healthy. What can we do about something like that? It's not
What we're
enough
doing,
out there,
what we're doing right now.
right? Yeah, that's good.
I mean,
Turn it on.
I wrote the book. I speak whenever I can. But ultimately, the Lord has brought, or the Lord brings people into our own unique sphere of influence. And so the Lord is only going to hold us accountable for what we could have done and should have done and what we did do. It's funny because sometimes the Lord will bring people to you and you will push them away.
Yeah.
I remember we had I don't know if I said this before, but we had a car show here at Loma Linda. And it was supposed to be a small car show. And this was in the midst of COVID. And all of a sudden these cars came out of, hundreds of cars and they blocked all the streets coming to Loma Linda. And so people were not very happy. But it was amazing because you had rich cars coming. Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Rolls Royce, Aston Martin, they were here. And, the ministers were kind of mad that these people had come. And I'm scratching my head saying, you talk so much about witnessing, you don't witness. You go across the world to witness to somebody. But now the Lord has brought all these people right in your midst and you want to kick them out. So that's just my little rant. But I'm just saying that's the way we are. We pray one thing, like I said, we'll brag, not necessarily brag, but we'll say that we went to Panama, to Peru, or some Africa, whatever. And yeah, I'm a missionary. I went over there, but you didn't even go across town. So, we have to get our priorities together. It's like today I was I met a homeless man, bless his heart, love the guy. He was hit by a car, see, because I was right by the ER. So he had just come out of the hospital, I guess. And he had been hit by a car. Imagine being homeless and being hit by a car. What else do you need? Come on. But anyway, I stopped and spoke with him, gave him money. And I don't have a problem giving homeless people money because heaven knows, if you're homeless, I'll give you some too. But gave him money, gave him some food, gave him some clothes. And I wanted to take a picture with him. And there was this woman walking toward us. And I asked her would she take a picture of us? You know what she said? She says, I'm talking on my phone. I'm like, oh, no wonder the Lord has not come. We're not ready.
We're not ready.
Not ready. Anyway, I'm sorry to go off on that. I'm just trying to make this thing real because there's so much that we neglect. And whenever we have the opportunity, we must take the opportunity because you never know where that person's going to end up. I may talk to one person and that person ends up talking to 10,000 people. So we have to take each opportunity that the Lord gives us and make the best use of it. But what you're talking about specifically is that, again, there are people making money off of illness.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there are people making money off the healthcare industry. And so they don't, I mean, they don't want to give up their money. And so you have these food disparagement laws, but you also have food right now that is designed to make you eat it or drink it. Let me give you an example of something that people don't even think about. What are the ingredients in Coca-Cola? You have the magic formula, you have the sugar, you have the salt, of course, you have the water. But what's the purpose of the salt? Why would Coke have salt in it?
That's a good point.
You know why it has salt in
To
it?
cut some of the sugar, I would think. But anyway, no, why?
It makes you thirsty.
That's right. It does.
Mm-hmm. So here you are, you're drinking this Coke, and all of a sudden you want more because of the salt. The salt is in there to make you thirsty, and the sugar hides the salt.
That's
And
right.
the sugar has its own addicting properties.
That's right.
So now you have the drive to drink from the salt because you're thirsty, but you also have the addiction properties of the sugar. And heaven knows what's in the secret formula of Coca-Cola. So you have this beverage that's designed to make you overconsume. So you get that?
Yeah.
Let's go on. So the link between cancer and, pardon?
I was gonna say that's the way a lot of the foods are designed.
Yeah.
To get you one way or the other in terms of addiction with foods.
Mhm.
You think about all the sugar that's used in foods, and that, like you said, is very addicting in and of itself.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
whatever that is, you're gonna want more Oreos because they taste so good and they have so much sugar in it. It's gonna make you want more and more.
Yes,
And
exactly.
and then combine it
Yeah.
with the milk. And you're like almost, you don't know it, but you're almost going straight to your grave. But
Oh yeah.
that's what I mean. Yeah, it's just so, but you're right about people having to know it. We have, and that's what we try to do here. But even beyond here, I mean, everyday people just need to know it. Now, everybody won't accept it, but they need to know it, at least have an idea of it.
Well,
Sometimes it takes them to get ill, sick, and then they'll begin to listen.
right. But Ellen White talks a lot about the health message being the opening wedge to the gospel. And
Mhm.
as more and more people become more and more sick, it's going to be like a bright light in the midst of darkness, the health message. Because people are going to say, I'm tired of being sick. And when they find out that they're sick because of what they're eating and drinking, whoa, whole different thing. And so, we've got to share that message as much as we can. When I'm with my family, when I'm with my friends, it's amazing. And people watch you. And when I'm with my family down in Florida, I love them to death. But they always watch out for me. They'll make certain I'm taken care of. One time I was down there, they had a vegan chef prepare food for me. I mean, and so people are watching and they know, but it's not enough to know. You have to know and do something with your knowledge. And so we just have to pray that the people will become more informed, and not only informed, but to make changes as well. It goes back to the person in the diaper. You grow so tall when you still wearing diapers. It's time to get out of those things. IGF, insulin growth factor 1, another thing that's responsible for cancer. IGF-1 is I think it's safe to say that IGF-1 is identical in humans and in cows, but IGF-1 acts as rocket fuel for cancer cells. Here we are talking about fat and cholesterol. I want to so the milk and fat. cholesterol. We know that. And this is what I was trying to get to finally here. When I asked if that white substance was pure. No, it's not. It has what they call somatic cells within them. And it's so impure that they have they have a limit of how much you can have in your milk. So they're not saying that it has to be free of impurities. They are saying, yes, you can have impurities. We want you to have impurities. We want you to have so much because we want you to make money. And that's exactly what they're doing. 100,000 somatic cells within a milliliter of milk. I mean, come on. And somatic cells, if you don't know, are body cells, but what they're in reference to here are pus cells. So like if you have a pimple, the white part, that's what's in this milk because the teats are often infected. They're often inflamed, and so they give off somatic cells. Anyway, so talking about that more of that here. And so we have somatic cells, and guess what? We also have bacteria. Anyone ever hear of E. coli?
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
E. coli is from feces. So if E. coli is present in milk, what does that tell you? I mean,
Milk is unclean.
would you willingly drink a substance that had E. coli? I mean, that had feces in it?
No.
No, you wouldn't. And again, they don't want this information out. If they, oh my goodness, if people knew that milk contained feces, that would make a big dip in milk consumption.
That's right.
Talk about heart disease, saturated fat. I'm rushing through because I don't like to have long lectures. I get lactose intolerance, another issue. Tends to be the darker you are, the more lactose intolerant you are. There are also white populations that are lactose intolerant as well. And bone health, we talk about osteoporosis. It shows that the countries that drink the most milk have the most cases of osteoporosis. And that may be due also because milk has a lot of protein in it. So you're drinking the protein, and the protein requires calcium for lack of a better word, digestion. So it breaks it up. And so you're using calcium to break down the protein. And so calcium is coming from the bones to do that. So if you want to look like this guy, he's a handsome guy, isn't he?
It looks like it.
Yeah, he's handsome. I mean, it's not a trick question. I'm serious.
No, he looks like he could be 60 plus even.
Yeah, he's a good looking guy. So if you want to look like this, why would you take
Oh my God, yeah.
this person's bone advice? And on that, I think I'm through. Oh no, I'm not. Anyway, you can see osteoporosis. Osteoporosis looks a lot like the Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. You see how the bone is just eaten up in here
Mhm.
on the right. So it reminds me a little bit of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. And so when it's like this, it's easy to break. Yeah, there's a tendency for white women to have osteoporosis. And so they tend to have, heaven forbid they have hip fractures, but they have a higher rate of fractures than blacks do. Adverse effects of dairy on blacks, lower test scores due to diarrhea, asthma, nervousness, anxiety, upset stomach. I mean, man, this happened to me. I didn't do well in school because I was drinking milk and my stomach was always messed up. I mean, I could not, I'm serious, I could not concentrate because I had to go to the bathroom. So it messed me up, my younger years in school. Prostate cancer, what I'm studying right now here at Loma Linda. dairy is associated with prostate cancer. When you look at the protein in milk, you know, human is 1.2. So the time to double in weight, double in size for a human is 120 days. For a cow, it's 47 days. And the milk composite, I mean, the amount of protein in the milk, you can see the difference, 1.2 and 3.3. And look at a rat. Its protein content is 11.8, and it doubles in size in 4.5 days. So you can see the role of protein there. As I said earlier, children fed cow's milk have a lower IQ. That's been demonstrated. Milk, it does the species good that it came from.
Yes.
And I think, so, I mean, if your baby look like, if your baby, I can't even get it. If your baby
That's
look like
funny.
this, if your baby look like this, you got more problems than drinking milk. But anyway, if your baby look like this, then go ahead and drink the stuff. But and do, you know, so anyway, that's it for me. Yes, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's very good. So now we open it up for questions. Those of you that have any questions or comments, I know some of this, if you've been following along with us, you know, in the past, in terms of our health presentations, some of this you may already know. But I just wonder, you know, what has, let's see, we still have 8 people on. And I just wonder what has sort of stood out with you tonight, or what questions you might have. I mean, all I want to do is show everybody I know this, especially, you know, your family, show everybody this. But, you know, as we're moving along in terms of society now, a lot of things are changing in terms of what people eat, but the ones that need to change are not necessarily the ones that hear the message. Because I hear, you know, I look in the grocery store now, you can hardly find a case that's full of, in fact, I haven't seen any whole milk at all, but full of regular milk now, because they have so many different ones now, and people are taking it, you know, they're seeing the whether it's trendy or not, they are moving in the direction of eating other types of alternatives to human milk, to animal milk. So I don't know, what do you think about that? Those of you that may not have said anything, do you eat, do you drink the other types of milk? I mean, you have any thoughts about that? Go ahead, someone was going to speak. Any thoughts for anybody that's here? What do you think? Go ahead.
We drink almond milk.
What kind did you say?
Almond milk, sometimes coconut.
Oh, yes.
Now, Doctor, this is Derek again. I have this question for you. In your studies, or have you heard that coconut milk is good for the brain? Now, I've heard that there are people I know that are in Africa that they drink coconut milk to help prevent Alzheimer's, you know, things like that.
Well, you know, I haven't heard specifically that it does, but I mean, it wouldn't be surprising that it would, because it's so coconut milk and the coconut water. This is a little trivia for you. if you're out in the middle of nowhere on an island and somebody gets sick, you can literally go to a coconut and make an IV out of it. And you know, you can be it's pure. There's no bacteria, there's no contamination whatsoever in it. So if you're ever out practicing, well, you shouldn't be practicing medicine anyway. I shouldn't either, you know, but I'm just saying if you're dehydrated out in the middle and there's coconuts, you can actually use a coconut for an IV. But anyway, so if you have the coconut and you're making coconut milk, of course it would do good for the brain. But one of the problems would be if a person relied solely on coconut milk, because Illinois has told us to eat a variety of foods. And so if you're just doing coconut, you may not get the benefit that you would if you had a variety of different milks.
Okay.
So the idea of drinking almond at some point, or oat milk or coconut or any others, doing a variety is probably beneficial for you.
Well, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, when you there's some it's like I alluded to earlier, you know, we have so many chemicals in our body alone, and then when you talk about the chemical reactions that occur, and so when you're taking a variety, I mean, imagine what it does to your microbiome, your gut, the bacteria in your gut. It makes it a symphony instead of a solo.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say I thank you for the knowledge, the time that you've taken to make this all where we can have the knowledge
Right.
to be able to avoid things that we don't have to necessarily deal with in life. We've been duped enough, you know, and people just feel happy being duped. They keep on doing it,
Yeah.
and they don't want to stop because they have made it so easy for you to get it, and people not paying attention.
That's right. I mean, it's easy to do what you've always done than to make a positive change. I mean, that's what we're dealing with, you know, when it comes to eating and weight gain and all the stuff that's centered around food. It's easier to do what you know or what you've always done than to make a positive change, even if it's for the better. And I see when people actually give up things because they want better health, you know, that takes a lot. And, you know, I also compare that with drug abuse and stuff, because when they make a change and can actually make some, even if it's a small change, that's a big deal, because it's very hard for us to make changes in our lives, even though we know better.
Yeah, well, and that's why we have to, our prayers, I mean, the Lord has just been so good to me personally, and has, I mean, even me, I'm always making changes to my diet. It's like, oh my goodness. And when I get new information, I'm like, oh my goodness, okay, yes, this is great, let's do it. But I mean, that has to come from, you have to really be connected to God where you want those things, and He will give you that desire. It's just that we have made our connection with God far more ritualistic than realistic. You know, a loving God, you know, wants to save you, will do whatever it takes to even die to save you. That's deep. And so when we get the information, we have to pray to God that He will give us the desire and the strength. Heaven forbid we need the strength to make these changes.
Well, one thing I know, you being out in Loma Linda, and no doubt you see things that you don't want to see at Loma Linda. And so people just seem not to care enough to do the right thing in front of other people or love people enough to say, I can't do this in front of my brother or my sister in front of God, because your body belongs to God,
Mhm.
you know, and there again, even in our churches, we're not being taught as we ought to be taught.
Mhm.
You know, we can't expect the heathen to tell us what the church ought to be telling us. But yet it is the heathens that's telling us, you know, what do you call them? The smart people, the people that got use their brains for good,
Mhm.
you know. So, but it's sad, but we have to cheer up and go and be lights rather than darkness.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
share. It don't hurt us to open up our mouth with some type of incentive to be able to give a person a card sitting next to me on the bus. Is milk good for the body? Question.
Or show that picture, Derek, of the child drinking on the
Yeah.
udders of the cow.
That's right.
Is this
That's
what
right.
you do?
See, because I think we have to really go out on a limb and try to get this information out.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
and just for me to have a card with that, what Ann just said, baby sucking the cow's nipples. Oh,
Just,
yeah, would you wouldn't want that. And you get this to this person right next to you on the bus, and he or she gets off, that's gonna be on their mind.
that's right.
And
Or
that's
either they'll throw it away, they'll be too afraid to look at it. But yeah, I think that's what we have to do. And I mean, obviously it means putting something together like that. I mean, we do that with other handouts that we have ready. I have handouts in my car ready to give to the homeless and put, put money inside it, the little small ones. And I mean, I haven't seen any about food, but if I thought I could get a hold of that picture, I sure would try to do that, because that's a real eye opener.
it sure is.
Look at that.
You
Is this
recorded
what you
this.
want for your child?
You recorded
my-
this, so you can go back and stop it and then make a screenshot.
Make a screen, okay.
Yeah.
Even if I just send it to my, well, like I said, now they're pretty much doing milk, the other options for milk. Mainly a lot of them do soy and almond and stuff like that. But anyway, but yeah, just to make it and have it on a handout. I mean,
Can we get that?
but they need to do, well, I mean, I know we have to do something, and I know I'm talking to the choir here, but if we don't tell it, how is it gonna get there?
It won't.
Yeah,
We can watch it over again when it gets to that point. We could do a screenshot.
and I like the idea that you said, Sister White, talking about our health message is like the gateway into,
Yeah,
or something you said like that.
the opening wedge.
Yes. Mhm.
And you see it here. It's and part of the witness is the way you live. People are going to look at you more by the way you look than what you give them.
That's
If
right.
you look healthy, and you're how old? You're what?
You-
I mean, I just got the bus driver. This nice bus driver, bless her heart. I mean, I got on the bus. I wanted to reduce fare, and she was like, "No." And I showed her my driver's license. She's like, "What?"
Say, here's my ID. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you have to have that the healthy look,
Mhm.
and healthy not only physically, but healthy spiritually, healthy emotionally, healthy psychologically. I mean,
Mhm.
even though I may be, or anybody may look healthy, but if you're walking around sad, I don't want to hear anything you have to say.
Mhm. Mhm.
No, no.
Steve T. got something.
So are there any other comments, any other questions that you might have, or
Well, I think it was very informative and
Mhm.
very informative. I was trying to read fast because the screenshots were going fast.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I figure I could go back and watch it and glean some more information. But I thought it was very good.
And that go,
Yeah.
excuse me, Kathy. And Greg, that go for any kind of milk. As far as when you're talking about whether it be chocolate milk, is just as bad as the regular milk. Is that right?
Well, chocolate would be worse because you would have more sugar in it.
it's sweeter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if it's chocolate, strawberry, whatever, it's even
Yeah.
worse because now you got the added sugar to it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna end up with fermentation in your stomach on top of all that because of the reaction of the sugar
Mm.
in the stomach.
Well,
Mm.
one of the reasons I stopped years and years ago, stopped drinking milk, was that I would get sore throats. I didn't know why. Earaches, stomach aches. It was bad. And the doctors didn't know what the heck was going on. And I would end up with a severe sore throat every month, just
Sick.
or every other month. And so I ended up diagnosing myself because I said to myself, what if I stop drinking this for a little while and see what happens? And sure enough, the earache went away, the sore throat went away, the queasy stomach and
Ugh.
gassy stomach went away. So I just started drinking other milk,
Yeah.
like plant-based milk. And
Mhm.
years later, yeah, that helped.
Well, for me, I had asthma. And let me tell you something, having asthma is
Oh, yeah,
hard.
that definitely.
You know, you want to breathe and you're scared to breathe and you don't know what's going to happen. And I couldn't figure out what was giving me these asthma attacks. And not only that, when I do milk, I noticed I had mucus. I'm saying,
Mhm. Oh,
oh,
yeah.
man, what's up with this?"
Yeah.
You know, so I learned by teaching myself, this milk is not no good for me. And I
Yeah.
started doing it, and I haven't been having no trouble with asthma in over 30 or 40 years. But if I go
Yeah.
to take a bowl of cereal and use the milk, I'm gonna have something.
Mm-hmm.
Right away, I'm gonna have something. So I can't take that chance, man.
Yeah. Now I was asthmatic as well, and when I stopped drinking milk, boy, did I have a change. But Kathy, you hit on something that's very important, and what goes to the handing out literature, whatever. What you can do is just tell them, just challenge them, say, try it for a week, give it up for a week,
Mhm.
and let them see the changes in their body, and that will be enough to
Yeah.
motivate them to keep on going.
Yeah.
Whereas if you don't challenge them, then they're like, man, I gotta change. I can't have I missed the taste, blah, 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 blah. But when you challenge them and they see a difference within a week, uh, that's when you'll see them making longer changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let their body talk to them.
Yeah. You
That's
know,
right. Does Steve have anything? Do I see Steve? Steve, you have any questions?
What did
Okay.
he do? Take a nap?
Well, now when I'm talking, he better not take a nap.
Well, well, one thing he said is that his internet has been going in and out,
Oh, okay.
and he didn't know if it would, because I don't see him on. So it may have. I know last night he wasn't able to get anybody to come and look at it and take care of it until Saturday. So I'm not sure
I see him.
Is he there?
Yeah, Steve
Oh.
T.
Tell him to wake up. Maybe, oh, he's muted. Yeah, there he is. He's
Oh, okay.
muted. But we certainly have appreciated. Now, you said that you were finished. Is this the last one, or do you have one more for us?
I mean, I was finished for tonight. I mean,
Oh, okay, perfect. That's fine. That's all I wanted to know. Because I really want, and I'm gonna ask, Tom won't be back, I don't think yet. But I'm gonna mention, yeah, you'll be there too, Derek, at church. And I really wanted to let the church members know, what your messages have been about, your presentations have been about, because our church has mostly older people,
Mhm.
and many of them need to understand this because they do have chronic illnesses. I mean, you get to be 70 many times, not often, and not have some kind of chronic illnesses. So I wanted to make sure I could say that, and I'm going to try to do that in a verbal kind of thing, Derek, because we have it in the bulletin, and and Tom always sends out notices and invite and reminding people every week. Every time that week that we are presenting, he sends out and reminds them. So I would like to just put a little more emphasis on that this week.
Well, I think that my personal opinion is that we waste too much time and energy on Adventists. We need to be out evangelizing.
Mhm.
Even Ellen White makes that point.
Yeah.
Like, they've heard this message. And so it's time to tell the world and to quit. I don't want to sound mean, but I'm just saying we waste so much time and energy on these people in the diapers.
Mhm. That's
People in the
right.
diapers. God is looking for, we have a vast field out there
Mhm.
That's
that we
right.
need to
You're
reach.
right.
And so, these lectures to me are designed for
People on the
for
outside.
evangelists, get people who don't know to know. Because there are a lot of people out there with diabetes, high blood pressure, prostate cancer, breast cancer, so on. And these messages will benefit them far more than it would, the Adventists who are just closed to growing.
Right.
Absolutely closed to growing. Moses himself could come down here and they still wouldn't change. And so
You're
say,
right about that.
yeah, they say, I'm sorry, Moses. I'm not, you're nice, but I
Yeah,
still like
I'm just not quite ready for that. Are you sure that's
right.
so they ask things like, I don't know. I have to think about anything that they say.
Yeah. And so, I encourage every church to reach out and our churches are dying because we just spend so much time on people who aren't going to do anything. Whereas to experience explosive church growth, these messages have to go out and they will be received.
Yeah. Well, Brother Greg, it's good to have you on this presentation. You really did a superb job.
I know. It's just so interesting,
We know that you are on a different, probably Loma Linda time zone. I don't know if it's equal to ours, but we don't want to wear you out.
It is to ours, not yours.
And I'm going to be quite honest. The thing that I enjoy most is this stuff.
Amen.
This is more, I'd rather do this than be in Disneyland. So.
I think I might agree with you on that.
No, I mean, there's nothing like, spreading God's message to inform people and help them to make better changes and to see God's love in everything.
Better choices.
A God that has made a variety of things for you to eat. that are beautiful to look at, you know, beautiful to taste, beautiful to touch. I mean, that's all love. That's not the universe did this stuff. You know,
That's right.
so I really enjoy just being involved in that.
Mhm.
Well, I like to think that we're having you back real soon. I know Ann and Tom will be checking into that with you.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think he has, there's another presentation as well.
Okay.
Is that next?
2 weeks.
after
Is
next?
that correct? Gregory, is that,
I mean,
I
I can
think
be here in 2 weeks. It's fine with me.
okay, I'll just double check with Tom. He's out on the road and they're on their way back somewhere near Kansas City. Because he set us all up, he stopped and set everything up so that we could
Okay.
have it ready. So I'll just double check with him. And no, I need to look at his initial announcement. But anyway, we are very happy to have you. I enjoyed it very, very much. You presented in such a clear way. Oh, you guys are signing off?
Yeah.
Okay,
leaving.
that's okay. All right, and then I'm
We're
going
gonna have
to,
us signing off for a little while, so.
All right.
We'll cut
all right,
off.
that's good. That's okay, because I'm gonna close it down now too. So, because people, I think for the most part, have sort of left us. So I will get back to you. Thank you so much. We did record it and I will have instructions to turn off the recorder. And we will look to see you next time. I wanted to see if there were any. Let me offer prayer just as we close out, please.
Okay.
And kind Father in heaven, we have been so privileged to hear Gregory's presentation last week and this week. And we know that this is the message we need to take to our neighborhood, our community, other people that we know. So please give us the guidance and the direction to do that and the willingness and desire to do that, because we know how important it is. And as it has been said, that is the gateway to getting people to know you. So we thank you for everyone that's been online, and we are very happy that they were all able to join us. And we will look forward to the 2 weeks with Dr. Gregory. So I ask all these blessings in your name, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, everybody. I
All
will
right.
see you. Okay, take care.
Good
All
night.
right.
Good night. Okay.